Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Rittner of the Rittner Floral School in Boston, Mass. It's a pleasure to welcome you into our classrooms today. We're going to be doing a Christmas design for you, and I think you're going to find it a really neat one. We hope you enjoy this demonstration and have a lot of fun trying this yourself. Now, you'll notice the container that we have here is a rather interesting one. It happens to be some glassware, and if you look very, very closely at it, it almost gives you the feeling of something that's of ice. It's a glass container. It's rather oval in shape, and we happen to have here kind of a rough finish on the edge here. We have in our container a couple of pieces of foam that have been attached together, and to cover our mechanics, we've taken some of our aspidistra leaves, we've cut them, and we've crisscrossed a few aspidistra leaves both in the front and also in the back of the design, so that in that way we can cover our mechanics. Now, this is going to be a Christmas design, but we're going to make this a non-traditional Christmas design, and I think you're going to find our treatments rather interesting and the materials that we use and the way we handle it rather interesting. First of all, we're going to use some non-traditional material on this design that will definitely set the scene for it. This is called a bell cup. Bell cups are from India. They're dried materials. They're pods. This particular bell cut happens to have been painted black and also has glitter on it. Do you see the shimmer and shine on it? It's a really, really interesting dried pod, and we thought that where it's a little bit different, we would incorporate it into our Christmas design. And I'm going to place some of my bell cups into this design. I'm going to place 3 bell cups, and I'm going to distribute them. Notice how I'm placing them in such a way that one is faced towards the front, one is faced towards kind of the back, and I'm going to take a third one and I'm going to place it kind of over on this side so that they're all facing a little bit different. This design is going to be a one-sided piece. However, by placing our bell cups the way you see it here, it makes the design, I think, a little bit more interesting because not everything is facing exactly the same way. Now let's add some flowers to this. And to work with our flowers, I'm going to start with some of my roses. And roses you never can go wrong with. Roses are the national flower. They're a prestige flower. Whenever you see a rose, you automatically think in terms of something that's going to be very rich and regal looking and pretty. And I'm going to take some of my red roses to bring across the holiday theme of Christmas with green and red and that kind of thing. And I'm working a couple towards the front, and then I'm going to place a couple more of my roses in towards the back side of the design as well. So I'm placing them in fairly close to the container, and I think you're going to notice that as we work on this design, we're going to be concentrating our material very, very close on the top. I'll have more to say about that shortly. But in the meantime, I want you to look and see exactly how we place these materials here. We're keeping them fairly close, and we've mixed both the roses as well as our bell cups in there on the top of our design. Now, I'm going to take a few more roses and work a few more things in here. We've been playing with our red roses thus far. So at this point, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of other flowers and place them in place. And I'm going to use a pink rose right over on this side. And I'm extending the viewing of this thing out a little bit. And I'm going to take a second pink one and work it over on this side of the design as well. So now it feels like it's coming out a little bit farther. Notice that on this design we're doing something a little bit different in terms of our proportions. Normally when we think of standard arrangement technique, we think in terms of lots of flowers coming up fairly high on the design with the container being kind of subservient to it. What we're doing in this design to come up with a different look for our Christmas unit is something called reverse proportion. What is reverse proportion? Reverse proportion means that the bulk of the design is made up by our container, and we're keeping our flowers in real close. So you have a band of flowers here, but the bulk of the proportion of the thing is through our container. Reverse proportion. It's a new idea. It's a little bit different. Something worth to play with a little bit, something worth experimenting with a little bit, and it'll give you a totally different look on some of your holiday designing, and I think you're going to find it kind of neat. Now, so far we've used about 4 of our red roses, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've played with a couple of our pink ones. I'm going to add a white one in here just for a little bit of variety. Sneak one right in here. It's kind of peeking through from the back side. Now, what else do we have that we can play with on our design? Oh, well, the holiday is not the holiday without some of our holly. And we're getting some really pretty holly foliage in here, and it's got berries and it's gorgeous. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some of that, we're going to cut it down, and we're going to make use of it. And I'm going to take some of my holly berries and work them in here. Notice how that's just peeking out here. But I'm also going to take some of my foliage as well. It doesn't necessarily have to have the berries in, and I'm taking a little piece of foliage and inserting it here as well. And I'm going to continue that process of working some of my holly in through the design, working it across so it's tucked in between our bell cups and in between our roses. I'm going to continue the process. I started on the left, I'm gradually working to the right, adding a little bit more in terms of our holly berries, and this is giving me a very, very pretty effect. Notice how this thing is coming together so nicely and so easily. A lot of people have the idea that in order to do floral designing, you have to have some sort of it being some kind of magical, mystical talent that only a few people have. But in actuality, anybody can learn to do floral designing if you get the right training. And that's what we're in business to do. That's what we teach. At the Rittners School of Floral Design in Boston, we offer a wide range of courses in professional floral art. We have long courses, we have short courses, we have day classes, we have evening classes. We've got things going on throughout the year. We also have some great distance education materials that people can buy at a very, very reasonable price on our website. And I urge you to visit our website at www.floralschool.com, www.floralschool.com, to see some of the things that we have available, because we have some neat resources there and we have some really wonderful programs going on at our school. Well, so far I've been playing with this and I had to get off on that little tangent, but in the meantime, let's add a few more things. How about some of our heather? I got a little bit of heather here. Heather is a wonderful filler, and we're getting some of it in at the present time, so we thought it would be kind of fun to work some of our heather in. And I'm working just small itty-bitty little pieces of heather into our design as we're gradually filling in with our materials. So a little here, a little there. It doesn't take much, just a little sprig here and there. And notice how this is filling in so nicely on our reverse proportion Christmas design. Notice how this is filling in very, very, very nicely. This design isn't taking a heck of a lot of material, but notice that we're getting really a nice show on our material on doing this design. Now, at this point, if you look at it really, really closely, let's come in real close with our camera, you'll notice that we have just a little bit here and there in terms of some of our mechanics showing. So I'm going to take some of my sheet moss, and I'm going to take some little pieces of sheet moss and work it in here and there just to cover up my mechanics. And by doing that, I can finish my design off very, very nicely, and it gives a very, very nice completed look. So I think you can see, just from this short demonstration that we're doing here today, that floral designing is something that really anybody can learn. It's something that if you learn the right steps and you're taught by somebody like us, we're very enthusiastic and we enjoy our teaching, you can really do some very, very interesting and pretty things. And we hope you enjoyed this presentation of a reverse proportion floral design at Rittners School of Floral Design in Boston. Please come and visit our Floral Lab again and see other great ideas in terms of professional floral art. We enjoy having folks come and see our designing and coming and taking our classes. Again, this is the Rittners School of Floral Design in Boston, and we thank you for coming in and visiting with us today.